What's up, everybody? This is Adam. Welcome back to Fouled Out. Matt and Devin are going to be joining me shortly to talk about 5 more NBA subplots to watch the rest of this season. We got a lot of really positive feedback on last week's 5 NBA subplots episode, so we're running it back. My dad went as far as to say that last week's episode was okay, which is the best response you're going to get out of him when it comes to an NBA pod. Just teasing. He really liked it, actually. So that's why we got to run it back. If you're getting my dad engaged in a basketball podcast, you are doing something right. And then next week, we got a special treat for you guys. We are going to be back with the quad pod. That's right. Clint and Devin will be joining next week to do a special NBA draft episode. So that's going to be a ton of fun. But before we get started today, just a reminder, you can reach out to us, fouledoutsports@gmail.com. Really appreciate you guys listening. We always love to hear from you. You want to drop me a line and talk about hockey coming back? Tonight's the first night back after the Olympic break. We got the baseball season starting soon. We're going to be getting into March Madness on the podcast a couple weeks. So hit me up. You guys want to talk about any of those things? I am also thinking about playing fantasy baseball again this season for the first time in a long time. So if you guys have any advice, send me an email, fouledOutSports@gmail.com. Also, remember, you can watch the podcast on YouTube. Just look up Fouled Out Sports. Give us a like and subscribe over there to help us grow that channel. And again, really appreciate all your support. But for now, let's grab Matt, let's grab Devin, and talk about 5 more NBA subplots to watch. It's going to be a fun episode. Let's go. All right, Matt is here. Devin is here. We were supposed to have a quad pod this week, but we lost Clint. So RIP to Clint, wherever he is. Guys, how you doing?
Great. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, going in blind, so confused.
Yeah, that's we've altered what this pod was going to be about numerous times this week, to the point where Matt and Devin didn't even really know until the pre-show meeting. But it'll be a good one. We are back with 5 more NBA subplots to watch the rest of this season and beyond. Last week was the first NBA pod of the season for us coming off of football. We got a lot of really positive response to it. People really liked, oh, you touched on 5 different things. It was quick hitters. It was fun, blah, blah, blah. So we thought about how we could bring that back. Next week, we will hopefully have the quad pod, and we will bring back the topic we were supposed to do this week. But for now, subplot number 1, Kansas guard Darryn Peterson. So we have talked a lot on this podcast about the upcoming NBA draft and about how this is one of the best and deepest drafts that we've had in quite some time. Mm-hmm. So for those that don't know, there are 3 guys at the top of this draft who are considered to have all NBA potential. And Darryn Peterson right now is the presumptive number 1 pick. By odds, by mocks, a lot of people have him going first overall. He is a guard who plays for Kansas. We have AJ DeBansa is a forward who plays for BYU. And then you have Cameron Boozer, son of Carlos Boozer, who is a forward or a big that plays for Duke. Those 3 guys are seen as future potential all-NBA guys. And it's probably been a couple of months of people saying hey, Darryn Peterson's number 1, DeBansa's number 2, Boozer's number 3. And that's just been the presumptive order for a while. Until the last week or so, where all of a sudden shit is getting really, really weird at Kansas. And I don't fully know what to make of it. But for anybody listening that hasn't seen it, Darryn Peterson has been pulling himself out of basketball games for a couple weeks now, where he'll play the entire first quarter and score 20 points in 20 minutes. And then in the second half, he'll just tell his coach hey, I'm coming out. I'm done. And it got to the point where his coach, Bill Self, has come out to the media and kind of complained about it and been we want guys who want to be here. We want guys who want to play. So it's an odd situation I don't really know that we've dealt with before in the NBA draft, where we have these 3 really elite prospects. This guy is supposed to be the elitist of the elite prospects. And now we have questions about is he healthy? Does he not want to play basketball? Is he not competitive enough? Why is he not playing? And there have been games this season he's just missed completely. and Kansas apparently doesn't know what's going on with him. They said that he's medically cleared. They're like, there's no reason he should sit out. So what do you guys make of the Darryn Peterson situation?
You go ahead, man.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It's not a look you want to have when you're trying to acquire generational wealth by being the first overall pick in the NBA. 4 years of a guaranteed contract. But just look at Kawhi Leonard. He's definitely had a little bit of a redemption arc this season after all of his interesting storyline over the offseason. But his reputation tanked because he would never play, right? And so if you are pulling yourself out of games, availability is the most important ability, right? And it's not even legitimate injuries that are keeping you off the floor. It's yourself. What team is going to want to build around that?
For sure. And if he's been medically cleared, then it's then that's one thing as well. But let's say there was some sort of potential injury problem here.
Yeah.
Whether it was he's hurt legitimately and just has to take himself out of games, or if this is some sort of him trying to just coast along, or it's a lack of competitiveness and he is trying to just save himself to be healthy for the NBA or something like that. Either way, it's not a good look. Or I don't know. There's been I know there's been rumors of him maybe taking some sort of NIL deal or something that maybe could be impacting his decision to just get to a certain number of games played, and he's just I don't really care if I just want to make that number.
Is he getting any deposits from Aspire?
I don't know. But it's I just feel no matter what the answer is to why he's acting the way he's acting, it can't be good. So it just makes me wonder why you would even do that.
Yeah.
Personally.
All fair. And we're getting to the point where a lot of podcasters and GMs around the league and stuff are God, maybe this guy needs to move down the board a little bit. My counterpoint to this though is because now it's been 2 or 3 weeks of pretty much everybody bashing him. Have you watched Darryn Peterson play basketball? Because holy shit, is this guy good at basketball? It's every time that I'm AJ DeBansa needs to be the number 1 overall pick. I even was thinking the other day, I was would I move Peterson behind Cameron Boozer on my board after Boozer had that big game against Michigan over the weekend? Mm-hmm. I was God, Cameron Boozer, I think Cameron Boozer has the highest floor of any of these guys. I think he's really safe. But then I watched Darryn Peterson play basketball and I go, this is absolutely gorgeous. Some of the best guard play that we have ever seen in college basketball. He's so smooth and so explosive with everything he does. He's so good at everything for his age.
It's been a long time
shooting
since we've seen a card that good come out.
Shooting, taking guys off the dribble, moving without the ball, playing defense, everything that you would want from a prospect. This dude is it. The problem is it's only for half of every game. And that Devin's 100% right. There is something super weird going on behind the scenes. It's almost better if it is an undiagnosed injury. If it does turn out that something is actually medically wrong with him and Kansas just is screwing up, and maybe it's just something he feels and it's not diagnosable, where he really does have cramps or something's hurting or something's, I don't know. But the kind of overwhelming sentiment right now is either what Devin said of he is hurt but needs to play a certain amount of games to collect his NIL money. So he's just playing what he can and then he's leaving. Some people are he basically is just trying to stay healthy, not get hurt in college. So as soon as the game is well in hand, he's yeah, I'm good. You guys don't need me for the last 18 minutes against Oklahoma State. It's something weird But then I watch him play basketball and I think, who wouldn't want this guy? You know, I think the only reason this is a debate at all is because the draft is so good and because like Debanza has such like a high upside. Like if this was almost any other draft, like if he was in the last draft instead of Cooper Flagg, it would have just been like, yeah, well, you know, he's number one with a bullet. Like look at him play, and then you're just going to cross your fingers. The problem with this one is like, you know, like the majority of drafts, you would draft him first overall, and if it didn't work for whatever reason, it would just be like, oh, well, you know, there was no other better option. If you draft him first overall in this draft and it doesn't work, there are two better options immediately behind him, and you will get fired.
With Cameron Boozer, too, I think it would be foolish for people to undersell the level of influence that pedigree carries for people at that level of sports. Like it's the same in the NFL. Like if you are the son of someone who played at a high level in that sport, there is some resignment that like you are going to know how to put things together at that level as well.
There's evidence for it too with in a lot of cases. You know, the thing, and we'll probably be talking about AJ Debanza, but it's like, because I agree with you, it's like, oh, when you watch Darryn Peterson, it's like, okay, maybe we just let some of this stuff slide. I mean, it's like he's just a miraculous talent. But I'm also like, have you also watched AJ Debanza play? Because I feel like from what I've seen of him play, I'm like, I would much rather take that than any kind of potential upside, I think, personally, from a guard spot with Darryn Peterson. It's just like AJ Debanza to me is like, he just seems like a home run to me, like, or just like a surefire pick. Like, there's no way that he's going to like not pan out, I guess. Same with Cam Boozer. Like you said, Cam Boozer has like the highest floor, I think, for sure. But I don't know. It's like, I get it. Like, I definitely get why Darryn Peterson's game is like enticing for sure, but because like you said, because the top three is just so stacked, it's like it makes it easier for me to be like, okay, well, let's just move on to one of those other two options. Like I just feel like it'd be a safer bet.
That's fair. And I think I said this on the pod last week. It was either last week or the week before, that I do have Debanza as my number one player right now, but you know, my team is absolute ass this season, and Matt and I have talked about it a couple points this season where I was like, I want Debanza. Like that's my guy. I want the Kings to draft. I think he is a franchise changing talent. Honestly, like I'm super high on him. I've been high on him for a couple of years now, actually. And like it kind of reminds me of another one of my favorite athletes, Drake May, where like for years, the Caleb Williams Drake May draft, we were like, oh, like these two guys, these guys are so good. These guys are both going to be such elite quarterbacks in the NFL. Yep. And then the year of the draft, Jaden Daniels has a huge year and everybody's like, oh, also Jaden Daniels, like he might be good too. And Daniels goes ahead of May. I think that there's a little bit of that with like Darryn Peterson, where like Darryn Peterson is a really good prospect, obviously. And like I said, does like a lot of things amazing, and was a really good high school prospect as well. But Debanza was the guy that we've been hyped on in this draft for a couple of years now. Like, last year during college basketball, we were talking about like Debanza versus Cooper Flagg, basically. And then now Peterson has kind of gone ahead of him, where I'm still like, okay, Peterson's very good, but I haven't seen a reason to unseat Debanza yet as the number one player. So like I'm on board there, but I also, as far as like going overboard on Darryn Peterson, a lot of these exact same concerns that people have said about Peterson, like, oh, he doesn't love basketball, he's not competitive, blah, blah, blah. You know who else they said that about? Anthony Edwards in the draft, coming out of Georgia. He wants to play football. He wants to rap. He doesn't care about basketball. He's not going to pay. Why would you take him?
They missed the boat on what Anthony Edwards wants to do. Anthony Edwards wants to put babies in other men's girls and have nothing to do with them after that. That is the only thing he truly loves.
That probably would have been worse than the rapping. But like they said all of this about Anthony Edwards too, and this one thing I haven't heard anybody talk about is like I don't know that you can like fully gauge these guys during the college basketball season. And obviously like Ant wasn't pulling himself out of games and stuff like that, but there was a lot of questions about like why would he go to Georgia? Like he obviously wants to be a football player, blah blah blah. Once teams started getting these guys in the rooms and like interviewing them and stuff, Minnesota's like, no, this is our dude. We're drafting him number 1 overall. And people were like, oh, but James Wiseman and LaMelo Ball, like maybe you should, it was a real debate. It was a real debate back then about who should go number 1 in that draft between those 3 guys. Minnesota like talked to Ant and they're like, we love this kid. We think that he's the guy. So, and like that could happen with Peterson.
Credit to us. Both of us were like, have you watched him play basketball though? Because he's better. He was better, and very clearly is now significantly better than either of them ever were.
Yeah. But like that's the big difference with that draft and this one though is the same thing that Devin and I already mentioned is like in that draft it was like, okay, we have this dude from Georgia who is like one of the most athletic guys we've ever seen. And then like, LaMelo went and played in New Zealand and James Wiseman played like 7 games in college before getting suspended. This draft, it's like we have potentially 3 franchise altering dudes. And so are you as willing to take a swing on the dude? Like, if you're convinced Darryn Peterson is the dude, I get it. I've watched him. I watched the tape. I've seen it. But like, with all of the questions, are you as willing to pull the trigger on him first overall when the second team is going to get DeBansa and he's going to be a superstar?
Well, I don't think we've really touched on the determining factor here, right? Who is going to the Sacramento Kings? That is going to be the one that's either not going to work out, or if they do work out, they're sure as hell getting traded.
I knew you were going to say that. Again, I tell Matt this over and over again, you don't understand Kings basketball. Even if we have the first pick in the draft, none of these guys are going to the Kings. We're taking like Caleb Willison or we're taking Acuff, the kid from Arkansas.
We're going to try to draft Marvin Bagley again.
Yeah, we're just not going to do the right thing.
Worst case scenario for any situation. It's like, oh, you get AJ DeBansa, but then he like tears his Achilles like in his 3rd game.
Yeah.
Some crazy.
No, he'll have an amazing rookie season. They'll be like, okay, but can we trade him for Emmanuel quickly?
Yeah.
No, you know what happens with us is like, you know who the best Kings rookie of like pretty much all my time as a Kings fan is?
Can I guess? Like of all time? It's not like Kevin.
Oh, I know who it is.
Who is it, Matt?
Tyreek.
Mm-hmm.
Tyreek
Evans.
Of course.
So Tyreek Evans, as a rookie, averaged 25-5 and was like the 3rd player ever to do that, and the other 2 were Michael Jordan and LeBron James.
Yeah,
like something insane like that. And I was like, Tyreek Evans, franchise altering dude. And then like came back season 2, and like he wasn't hurt. He wasn't like whatever. I think he had like marijuana charges or something like that, which is so ridiculous to say in 2026 that like in California, a dude got in trouble for marijuana. But he got like in some weird like drug stuff, and then he was just never the same player. And like that's what happens with the Kings, even when we have a good guy.
Yeah,
it's total side tangent with Tyreek Evans. It's really interesting because he carved out like a 8 to 10 year career for himself. But yeah, it was like one of those cases where his rookie season was his best season as a pro.
We thought he was going to be like our point for like big guard of the future. And, we had him and DeMarcus Cousins at one point. We were like, damn, we got something. And we did not got something.
I also feel like there might be something to say about like the shifting of the game, like the way it started in a way. Like, I don't think it necessarily benefited his play style. I'm not saying that's like an excuse, but I don't know. Really became about stretching the floor in a way where I was like, he was not really ever like a 3-point shooter until like later.
Yeah, but to Matt's point, I'm like, maybe my team should just draft Cameron Boozer, even if we have the first pick. It's not what I want, but I feel like he's the safest dude. Like, I feel like where Cameron Boozer goes, it's just, you can't fuck him up. Like, he's just going to be good. maybe he won't be great if he's on the Kings, but like I think he's just going to be a 20 and 10 dude wherever he goes. You know, and he shoots over 40% from three. Like he's insane. He
passer too.
Yeah.
I think it was their game yesterday. He just passed Zion Williamson for the highest box plus minus in the history of college basketball for any player ever. So we'll see if he maintains it the rest of the season, but he's like plus 21 on the court for just overall box plus minus. It's pretty crazy. So, okay, I think we're all kind of on the same page as Darryn Peterson. I just wanted to I really wanted to throw the Ant comp out there because I keep hearing people talk about like Markelle Fultz and Ben Simmons and like all these other weird prospects, but I'm like, it's Ant. Like he's really good, but we're worried about off-court stuff that I don't know that we can fully judge right now.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't worry about him being a guy who can produce in the NBA. There are some flags that make me question whether or not he is a guy who is going to drive winning in the NBA, but I fully believe he'll be able to produce.
Yep. All right, subplot number 2. The Rookie of the Year race. We are pretty much down to 2 people, Cooper Flagg and Con Knipple of the Dallas Mavericks and the Charlotte Hornets. I need to start this segment with an apology to Con Knipple. Do you guys know who leads the NBA in three-pointers made this season?
Con Knipple.
It would be Con Knipple. Devin, you're on
mute. I know
mute.
that because you asked it.
Yes. Con Knipple, 201 three-pointers made in 58 games played. The rookie record for most three-pointers made in a season is 206 by Keegan Murray. And Con Knipple is at 201 with 24 games left to play.
Boom.
He's going to absolutely obliterate that record. He's also shooting 44% from three. Yeah. So really, really good shooter. When he was getting a lot of hype immediately before the draft, like he was really flying up people's boards, and I was like, I just don't know that I like trust this. And like, to be fair, a lot of it is like name based. Where if you showed me LeBron James as a prospect, and you were like, this is LeBron Knipple, he is the greatest prospect of all time, I'd be like, I don't know. With that last name, I don't know. Same thing with like, you're like, this is Victor Wenbam Knipple. Even though he's 7'6" and shoots like a guard, I'd still be like, I don't know that I see it. So my apologies to Con. I have some really, really good draft takes in the NBA. I could go through all of the players that I've nailed and been great with. And I was watching Stefan Castle
we don't want to hear those. I know. But we want to focus on your bad ones.
I was going to say, that's not what this segment is about. This is about me really fucking up on Con Knipple. That one was not great. So he's 19.3 a game, 5.4 boards, 3.5 assists. But I also wanted to talk to you guys about Cooper Flagg, because like the evolution of Cooper Flagg this season has been a sight to behold, where he kind of came in to the year like as a prospect. We were like, okay, this guy is the number 1 guy in the draft. He's one of the better prospects we've seen in a little while. But like his kind of thing was like he was going to be like a 15-8-6 guy or something like that, or like 15-8-4, and he was going to like have an impact on both sides and like not be super phenomenal offensively, but like was going to be like a total impact player. Cooper Flagg's development of his bag this season and like the moves that he has at this age and like the finishing moves that he has at this age have just like, I think, gone beyond what anybody possibly expected for him as a rookie. You know? So he's 20.4, 6.6, and 4.1 right now. And it's really like the debate between these two guys of like how great Knipple has been for Charlotte, which, I mean, maybe just being good in Charlotte is like enough on its own to be rookie of the year. And then Cooper Flagg just delivering on the promise.
Yeah.
Just for reference here, so Khan 201 3-pointers made. Dame hit 185 as a rookie. Steph hit 166. Ray Allen hit 117. Like, part of this is the evolution of the game, but still impressive.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the rookie class? Do you have a favorite for rookie of the year or any other rookies we need to highlight?
I feel like it is important to kind of take note of like the responsibility on the shoulders of both of these players. It's like, I try to think about the situation that Cooper Flagg came into on the Dallas Mavericks and how weird that team situation was going into this season with, you know, coming off the heels of trading Luka Doncic. And then it's like, okay, it's your franchise now, kid. And then it's like, I feel like he was kind of thrust into a situation where...
On top of that, the weird situation with AD.
Yeah, Anthony Davis just being hurt all the time. So it's just like, okay, well, we need you to do everything. You got to play point forward. You got to do all this stuff. And then it's like, he kind of was, I'm not going to say he was struggling, but it was obvious that he was like forced to do a lot more than I think he was probably expecting to have to do early on. And then it's like, you know, Con Knipples play for the Hornets, which they are much better than this year than I think a lot of people expected them to be. And they're obviously like a team that's kind of on the up and up a little bit, but maybe, you know, the way he kind of fits into that team is a bit more, even though he's like been outstanding and incredibly efficient, it's more of like a complementary role. And I feel like he's got like players around him that kind of like allow him to thrive in that sort of a system. And then like, so Cooper Flagg has like really come on as of late, obviously, like his efficiency's been much better and things like that. That's like the old, like, that is one thing I do take into consideration. I don't know who I'd have as a favorite. I think I'm going to lean Cooper Flagg, actually, just for like the two-way impact and just kind of how dramatic the shift has been in his offensive game in like, you know, I don't know, the past 20 games or so. And just, I don't know. And I just think he has a lot more responsibility on his shoulders in order, like in terms of just his overall workload for that team.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that, Devin. I mean, Cooper's got him too in like the counting stats. Obviously, what Knipple has done shooting wise is incredible. I also think it would be unwise for us to overlook just how much more is on his shoulders, as well as like look, I mean, there's more talent around him. So I mean Knipple, right? Like, he's got LaMelo Ball, who, for all of our critiques about him, very talented player. Brandon Miller, critiques about Miles Bridges as a human aside, talented basketball player, right? So, you know, like, to be fair to Adam, when all those other guys are on the court, how much attention are you going to pay to that unathletic white guy named Knipple?
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you trying to throw me a bone, but no, he's good. He's really good.
Yeah.
He had a pass. I was watching them the other day, or maybe it's a couple weeks ago at this point, but he had a pass where like he kind of like half spun around and he had like his shoulder facing the basket and he threw a pass over his head backwards to the corner for a wide open three. And I was like, that looked like Larry Bird. It really, like, that play specific. I'm not comping him to Larry Bird. I'm just saying, like, that play specifically, and not just because he's white. Not just because he's white. It was just like the crafty
tall
passing.
And white.
He was tall and white, and he could shoot the ball. That's why. But like the crafty passing and like the vision, the kind of like the eyes in the back of your head thing, like. It's not just the shooting with Khan. Like, the passing is like really, really high level for a rookie as well. So I got to give him credit there. I would say I think Cooper Flagg deserves it as well. You guys were right. You know, the beginning of the year, Jason Kidd was playing him as like the point forward, and everybody was criticizing him and being like, "Why are you doing this? You shouldn't be doing this. You're ruining him." And obviously, it's played a big role in his development as like a ball handler. A couple other guys like VJ Edgecombe has been playing well in Philadelphia.
Yep.
That is someone I was high on. Happy about that. Derek Queen's actually playing pretty well in New Orleans. He's 12, 7, and 4. He leads all rookies in total rebounds and assists this year. And he's second in free throws and blocks, which I'm really glad that he's at least playing decently, because they're going to give the Hawks AJ DeBanza or like one of the other guys we were just talking about. So I really hope that that's worth it. And then my boy Maxime Renaud, Sacramento Kings, pick number 42 out of Stanford. Right now is like 5th on the NBA Rookie of the Year ladder. He's been getting a ton of run lately with like all the injuries and the fact that we're trying to lose basketball games. He's getting a ton of minutes, but he leads all rookies in double doubles. He's 7'1". He's averaging 13.1 and 9.9 with like 5 double doubles over his last 11 games or something like that. So he's actually like been a pleasant surprise. The Kings, like, for as sucky as they are, they've had a couple dudes who are either rookies or like other young dudes that have kind of come on while we're trying to lose games here. But yeah, just looking at all the names on here, thinking back to our draft takes, and I was like, Dylan Harper is coming along slowly, which we kind of knew. Ace Bailey is basically just scoring 12 points a game and doing absolutely nothing else, which is exactly what Matt and I said he would do on this podcast. So yeah, and then, it goes into some of the other dudes. But yeah, I mean, Cooper Flagg, I think his game is just so far ahead of where I thought it would be at this point, where now I'm kind of reevaluating what the ceiling for him can be with all of like these offensive moves that he's adding and finishing moves. I'm like, yeah.
It's tough with a situation like this, because there's clearly merit to trial by fire or throw them to the wolves and see if they survive, right? Because some guys like Cooper Flagg are gonna respond well to it and be better for it, and there are other guys that are just gonna be damaged by it. And honestly, until you do it, you're not really going to know if they're going to be one of those guys. But I would also argue that if you're taking a guy number 1 overall, they kind of need to be one of those guys. So
yeah, well, like theoretically, the number 1 overall pick should be going to a bad situation. Yep. I would say that Dallas is a better situation than like most number 1 overall picks would go to, even though it was like, you guys are right, it's very weird with like Luka leaving and the AD and the Kyrie stuff and like a little odd. But subplot number 3, another award race, this time the MVP. So the NBA put in a new rule for this season to try to mitigate load management that states that you have to play at least 65 games to be eligible for any award or all NBA team. And I think they really thought they were doing something when they did it, where they were like, oh, like this is going to be really smart. It's going to stop guys from sitting out a lot of games. But now we've seen a couple of the MVP leaders get injured this season and are potentially at risk of not playing 65 games. So Shea has played 49 of his team's 60 games so far. He is the presumptive leader for MVP. So he has to play 16 of their last 22 to get to 65. But he is still out. They're playing the Pistons as we record this podcast, and Shea is not playing. We're not sure when he's going to be back. Jokic has played 42 of his team's 58 games, meaning he has to play 23 of their last 24 games to get to 65. Like, he's playing, he's back healthy from that really nasty knee injury he suffered earlier this year. But, I mean, this dude is like, one cold and flu season away from missing like 2 games, and then he's just not going to hit 65. So, I think it's interesting that you could potentially, if Jokic misses like 2 games and Shea hits the 65 game mark, there's like no competition for him to be MVP. He's just going to run away with it by default. If both of these guys, like if Shea doesn't come back relatively soon and he doesn't hit the 65 game mark, and then Jokic doesn't hit the 65 game mark. Like, Cade is third in MVP odds right now, but he's kind of in the same situation as these guys are, where he's got to play the majority of the Pistons' remaining games in order to win MVP. Like, how far down the list could we potentially get here? And is that good for the NBA? Like, so say like Shea, Jokic, and Cade all don't get the game requirement. Like, is Donovan Mitchell just going to be the MVP of the league? Is it going to be like Ant? Is it like how far down do we have to get? And is it good for the league? What do you guys think?
If a situation like you just mentioned comes to fruition, where it's like, oh, Donovan Mitchell, MVP, the NBA is going to have to change this rule. That's really my only true thought on this. You did already mention that as well, but I just like, how far down the list could we possibly go? It's like, I mean, we could go down really far. Then you're looking at some weird names. Yeah, it would have to be a guy like Donovan Mitchell, where it's like the team is successful, the team is winning games. Like, would you go Tyrese Maxey? Like, no, it would make no sense. It's like you wouldn't go Luka because the Lakers, they're just not good enough.
Yeah.
Like Wemby is also in that situation where he's also got the same problem with the games played. I don't know. Like if those two were out, and if the top three were out of contention because of this, I honestly don't even know who I'd give this to. I guess it would have to be, a player on a 55 plus win. I don't know, a 50 win team, 55 win team, with solid stats. And it's like, if that guy's Donovan Mitchell, I guess he's the guy.
I'm looking at like points per game also compared to games played. So like Luke is in the same spot. He's played 45 games. Jaylen Brown's played 51. He's played well. You mentioned Tyrese Maxey's played 56. Donovan Mitchell's played 55. Jalen Brunson's played 54. But like, none of these guys deserve to be MVP. Right? Like, I mean, first team All NBA, second team All NBA, sure. But like, you have Shea is like, still one of the best players that we've seen in quite some time. Jokic is like leading the league in rebounds per game and assists per game, while also averaging 29 points per game. So it's been insane. But I think the other part of this is like, when we talk about, and like I'm guilty of this, I just did it literally a second ago. When we talk about stats, we always talk about how many people are averaging per game, and we never talk about totals. At what point does someone like Donovan Mitchell actually become more valuable than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the regular season? Like, what is the game gap? Like, if Donovan Mitchell is averaging, like, what is he doing right now? Because I know he's someone I brought up a couple times because he's been really good. So he's 28.5 and about 5 and 6. So if he does, 28, 5, we'll call it 28, 5 and 6 over 78 games. And Shea he's at like 32, 5 and 6 almost. So he's just basically scoring more points. He does 32, 5 and 6 over like 62 games. Like, there's some math where like the totality of Donovan Mitchell's season is more valuable to a franchise than the totality of Shea's, with Shea missing all these games. Like Matt said it earlier when we were talking about Darryn Peterson, availability is the best ability. And when you got to play 82 games, you need to be available for a large number of those, I think, to be MVP. I just think we've never actually seen it where that was the deciding factor. And it very well could be this year, the deciding factor.
I can't find the post or article or wherever where I saw it. It was over like the past approximately 50 years. They went through all of the MVP winners, how many games they won, and I think it came down to there were 3 that had not played at least 65 games or an approximate equal percentage in seasons where, they were shortened and didn't play full 82. So that to me tells me that we had already decided that if you weren't playing this many games, you probably shouldn't be the MVP. Right? And so, just because it's not satisfying doesn't mean it's not the right call. Like, it's sometimes the right thing just does end up leaving a sour taste in your mouth, right? And don't get me wrong, like I would love for all the dominoes to fall the right way to where Cade is the only option left. That is what I am shooting for. But look, I mean, if these guys don't get the 65 games, like, no, I'm sorry. Like, a guy that doesn't play, I know it's probably a little over 75%, but like, yeah, like if you're not playing 3/4 of your team's games, like, I don't care how well you played in those games. Like, you shouldn't win MVP. It's a season-long award.
It's kind of why I've never really been able to fully hop on the Kawhi Leonard trade. Or, sorry, Kawhi Leonard. Just Kawhi Leonard as a player in general. Because, like, with the way he's playing this year and his talent level, honestly, like, throughout his entire career, it's like you could make the case that he's, one of the best players in NBA history. Like, I'm not going to say top 10, obviously, but, like, he's like a top 20, 30 player of all time. But I'm just like, the guy plays
his
40 games
peaks,
a year. Like,
his peaks are there.
Yeah. It actually is probably a pretty good point by Matt to say that, like, the whole reason that this is even a point of conversation this year is because, like, the top two candidates are in danger of potentially missing it, where we've just kind of never really had that problem before, where, like, I was looking at Jokic's games played. He's been above 70, like, every year of his career.
Yeah.
Shea has been also, like, solidly above 65. Actually, I forgot that OKC, we don't talk about this enough, that OKC egregiously tanked for years while they had Shea, and that they shut him down after playing 35 games one year and, like, chained him to a radiator. And they're like, you're not playing anymore. Nobody talks about how the Oklahoma City Thunder were built with blood money, except for the fact that they're like, wow, first you stole him from Seattle, then you egregiously tank for years and bench all your guys. Like, yeah, but let's not talk about that.
Well, and then everyone was just like, here, take all of our first round picks.
Yeah. But I think it is something to watch the rest of the season, that someone like Donovan Mitchell, who you would never expect to be an MVP, could just be an MVP by default. And we'll all go back to this year and be like, that was a weird year. Donovan Mitchell. Subplot number 4, something I know Matt's passionate about this, so I'll set it up and let him take the stage. So we talked about tanking last week on the pod, and about, like, how, the NBA is going to start cracking down on teams, and they fined the Pacers for benching guys. So Rick Carlisle, the coach of the Pacers, came out and basically said that the NBA contacted them about the fine and never consulted with any of their team doctors to see if the players that they were being fined for benching were actually hurt or not. And basically told the Pacers, you shouldn't have benched them. You should have given them drugs and sent them back out there. They're like, stop making excuses, Indy. Just drug the guys up and throw them back out there. So now it's getting kind of weird, where it's like, okay, did the NBA, like, jump the gun on fining people because of public perception? And, like, is the NBA now going too far and overreaching and being like, we're going to punish you for this, and maybe some of these teams don't actually deserve to be punished? So go ahead, Matt. Share your thoughts.
Honestly, Indy was not one of the ones that I really felt like had truly crossed the line. Especially because the moment Halliburton tore his Achilles, we knew they were going to be terrible. Look, I am all for, like, consequences for over tanking, right? Just limited information on myself. I technically work for the county, right? Like, I have to make sure that when I am doing something, like, I am following an appropriate protocol, because, like, there are consequences for if I go rogue and, you know, don't actually get the job done right. Right. And to just go in there and be like, oh, yeah, it looks like you're tanking, we're going to throw a fine, without actually implementing a system and a structure in which you're going to investigate it. Because, Adam, as you know, like when we were texting about this subject, like, I repeatedly said the word investigate. Right. Like, you are not just going in there just to deliver consequences. Like, you can't do that. Because we have all seen teams in professional sports that have legitimately been steamrolled by injuries, and there's nothing they can do about that. Like, that legitimately happens. But you can create a system to, create accountability and actually dig into whether or not keeping these players off the floor is credible or not. And, like, the vast majority of these guys that aren't stars too, like, that anytime they're not on the floor, they're losing future money. They're probably dying to get back out on the floor.
Yeah, I think investigate is the key word with this injury stuff now, because in the last 2 weeks, like we mentioned on the pod last week, that the Kings were shutting down Domantas Sabonis with whatever surgery he had. It seems like this is now the new way that we're going to tank or go about tanking, is that like minor surgeries are now becoming like season-ending things. It's kind of like a race to see who can have the most minor surgery, where like now Yusuf Nurkic is going to miss the rest of the season. I think he's on the Jazz for like a...
Jaren Jackson Jr. basically, what was it, less than a week after he got traded to Utah, got season-ending surgery.
Yeah, well, like some of them are like, oh, it's like Zach LaVine needs wrist surgery, he's done. But like Yusuf Nurkic, they're like, yeah, he's gonna get nose surgery, he's out for the rest of the season. I'm like, what kind of like crazy surgeries can they come up with where they're like, yeah, this guy's got a deviated septum, he needs to get fixed, he can't play anymore. This other dude, he's got sleep apnea, we're going to try to get in there and fix it.
Can't be a mouth breather on the court.
Yeah, he needs to have the surgery where you can just like press the button to cure your sleep apnea.
It's like
some CPAP machine.
They're like, this guy needs LASIK, he can't shoot his free throws right, he's done for the season. It's like, there needs to be, I think, a little like some kind of level of investigation by the NBA into like, is this actually season ending? Because like if these guys were on contenders, I think they would just play through this stuff. Like, I hate to go back to football, but like we just found out after the Bills got eliminated from the playoffs, Josh Allen had been playing with like a broken foot for like 6 weeks. He's like, I thought we had a chance to win a Super Bowl, And I'm sure there's a bunch of guys on like Detroit who could probably use, some kind of minor surgery right now, but they're like, no, we got a chance to win an NBA championship. I'm not like fixing my wrist. I'll fix it in the off season. Where like if these tanking teams are just like, oh, you broke a nail, you should probably go get a surgery. Like you're done for the season.
This is basically almost exactly what I texted you, is that the NBA can't even do the right thing the right way. Like,
that's a great point. Yeah. It's like they're trying to crack down on it, but they're not really doing their due diligence to do it.
That's like, to actually that's what I'm saying problem. Is like Nurkic is out with like a nose job, and the NBA is just like, yeah, that's fine. And then they're going to the Pacers. And they're like, give him bath salts and get him back out there. Like, this is bull. You can't bench him. The guy's leg is like hanging off sideways, and they're like, no, he's fine. Get him back out there.
Nurkic is going to be so hot when he comes back, though.
Probably.
That brand new nose look.
Do you know the NBA is like so pissed at the Pacers for being bad this season? I don't understand it, but they're talking about the new rules they're going to put in to avoid tanking.
Yeah,
and one of the rules
really
is like
targets them. I don't remember exactly what it is, but
if you played in the conference finals the year before, you can't draft in the top 4. It's like
fuck the Pacers, man.
Yeah, they're just like I'm 100% sure we talked about this on the pod last year.
Yeah,
that we were like, the NBA is so pissed at the Pacers for eliminating the New York Knicks in the playoffs. And so, because it was like, we knew Oklahoma City was going to be there, and they're like, oh, like, please God, give us a big market team to play against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And the Pacers were like, nope, it's small market on small market, baby. And Adam Silver was like, I will get revenge if it's the last fucking thing I do. Me and the lizard people are going to drag the Pacers down to the sewers. And like every rule, they're just like, you know who we're going to find? The Pacers. Get your guys back out there. You know who can't draft in the top 4? The Pacers. Like, they hate Indiana so much. Subplot number 5. We did this pod last year called The Thinking Man's Clippers, about how good the Clippers roster building has been. I want to do the Thinking Man's Clippers part 2, because this is a team that should have been completely hamstrung for the foreseeable future since they made the Paul George trade. Where, if anybody needs a reminder, it was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and like 7 first for Paul George.
It was like 7 firsts and like 6 pick swaps.
Yeah.
Like, it was absurd.
They just never should have come back from that. It just should have been like an absolute crater. Well, I guess like it turned out that part of the reason their roster building is so good is because they cheated. Yeah, and they paid Kawhi a bunch of stuff through aspiration.
Turns out the guy that they cheated for decided to try this year.
Yeah. But so they started like 6-21 this year. And I was like, oh, this is finally it. They're bottoming out. The trade is finally like coming back to haunt them. Paul George isn't on the team anymore and has sucked and all this other stuff. But one thing that really went like under the radar at the trade deadline is the fact that the Clippers were able to go out and acquire Darius Garland and Benedict Mathurin. Like really like, I mean, especially like Ben Math, like getting Ben Math back in that Pacers trade. I feel like we didn't talk about this enough, that they traded Ivan Zubac to the Pacers. They get Benedict Mathurin, who I know Matt loves, and a dude who like had some real moments in the NBA Finals last year in a 7-game series. They got the Pacers pick like 1 through 4 protected and like 8 through 12 protected. So if the Pacers like get picked, I think it's like 5 through 8, the Clippers will get that pick in a really good draft. So they got like Ben Math and that pick and a future pick for Zubac. They take Harden, who is 36 years old and is going to want like one more max deal or one more like 2 or 3 year deal. And they get Darius Garland, who, for all of his like faults, he's a 26-year-old point guard who has had some really good highs in the NBA. And a pick, they get like I think it was like a 2nd round pick back with that as well.
So, yeah.
They somehow like keep just finding ways to build out this roster to make this team competitive with Kawhi Leonard, where, you know, like I said, they started 6-21 this season. I was like, this is it. And now they're 27-30, which is like, it's not great shakes, but think about where they started and where they are right now. They're like 21-9 in their last 30 games to like bounce back and have a chance of getting to like 500. I would pose this question to you guys. The West play-in right now is the Suns, the Warriors, the Trailblazers, and the Clippers. And it's probably going to stay that way. Is there a team in that mix that you would want to see less than the Clippers if you were the Oklahoma City Thunder?
No. Even though I was dissing Kawhi earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like with the way he's playing, if he's going to be healthy for the playoffs and they have this, you know, constructed roster around him, I mean, that's not a team I'd want to see. Kawhi's playing like the best player in the league right now.
Yeah, I mean, the Pistons have played the Clippers twice this year, and Kawhi went supernova twice against them.
Yeah.
Like, they're 0-2 against the Clippers exclusively because of Kawhi Leonard.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, just watching those two games, it's like, okay, maybe he can't do that for an entire season, but that Toronto Raptors, Kawhi is still in there. Like, and I don't want to be in a first to four win situation against that guy, because the reality is that once it is the playoffs, like, yeah, he really is motivated. And I think this season he's especially motivated because obviously everyone, rightfully so, I will say, rightfully so, was shitting on him for his whole Aspire situation.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, if we're being perfectly honest about the Clippers, the odds are that Kawhi is not going to play 7 games of a 7-game series. I think like this is what we've seen from him is like, the Clippers have had moments the last couple of years where people are like, oh, the Clippers, like, woo. And then he plays like 2 games and then he's hurt, in the playoffs. And it's like, oh, okay, well, that was fun while it lasted. But I feel like this level of Kawhi the last couple of months is just like it's that like different gear. It's like that Toronto Kawhi that we saw. So in February, he's played 10 games. He's 29, 7, and 4. January, he played 12 games and was 28, 6 and 4 with an offensive rating of 123. In December, he had an offensive rating of 126 and was averaging 30 points per game in 12 games played. Like it's in there. And I think like if he is healthy, is still one of the best playoff performers and still a dude who can just absolutely take over a quarter, take over a game at the drop of a dime, and like not someone I want to see. And then you add in like, I was just talking about Ben Math, like he had some really low lows in the playoffs last year, but that dude just played in a game 7 in the playoffs, and like they have other dudes, man. Like
he had a 30-point game Collins in the playoffs too.
There was moments in that finals where it was like Halliburton and Ben Math were like the only dudes who did not look like the moment was too big for them.
Yeah.
And
so like Adam, yes, you are statistically correct that it is unlikely that Kawhi will play 7 games of a 7-game series. But I'm also going to look at the human side of things. I mean, let's pull from the last segment that we had, right? Like, if a guy is motivated to be playing, he's going to play through some shit. And as long as Kawhi Leonard is on the court, I'm going to treat him like he is a loaded weapon. This is the year of all years when I do not want to play Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs.
There's actually like a pretty good chance at this point that there is going to be a play-in game for the 8 seed that is Steph Curry versus Kawhi Leonard, and that Oklahoma City is going to have to play one or the other. And I have seen my team play Steph Curry in the playoffs. That is equally not a fun proposition.
No.
We tell you that. So, and like the Thunder would obviously be favored and would obviously probably win either of those series still.
Yeah.
But God, what is a funnier storyline after everything that's happened with the Clippers and the Thunder than they beat the Thunder in the first round of the playoffs? And Kawhi just like goes off, and like then the Clippers get abolished and move to Seattle because the aspiration thing. That's apparently what's coming down. But all right, that is it for us. As always, Foul Duck can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Overcast, anywhere you get your podcast. You can hit us up on Gmail, foul.sports@gmail.com, and you can watch the podcast on YouTube. Just look up Foul Out Sports. Give us a like and a subscribe over there to help us grow that. The hope for next week is that we will be back with the quad pod with Devin and Clint to do a draft of current NBA players of like, who would you want the most? You got to build out a team to see which one of the four of us can come up with the best team. So I think that's going to be fun. Looking forward to that. I started putting my big board together for the draft, and I was like, oh, fucking Matt making me do NBA top 30 in February. This is easily what this turned into. So, but Devin, thanks for being here again, man. Appreciate having you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
And then we will see you guys next week.
Yep.
Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Mom.
Bye, Robin.